Live here too.
There we go.
All right, man.
Good to see you.
Good to see you too.
So lots happened.
Yeah, I guess so. Lots. It's been 2 weeks, so yeah, definitely lots happened.
New president. He's doing all kinds of things at a rapid pace, and it's freaking people out.
Oh, it's definitely freaking people out.
You know, I love every second of it.
Yeah,
even if not everything works, it's like it's something. It's
change. Let's try something different.
Yeah. I want to talk to you about the methods that you use to deal with difficult people.
Okay.
And if you want to share some difficult moments that you've encountered over the years, and I'm not asking you to be specific with names and things, and it can be business and or social. I want the whole gambit.
Okay.
And because I'd like to do a series of panel shows here very soon on that subject, because I think that issue is so not only misunderstood, but I don't even know if as a society we spend enough time thinking about how to effectively deal with people that we may find caustic or people with different opinions. So
give me a frame. So I think we need to frame it like, so difficult people can mean anything. So give me a framework. Give me a difficulty.
In business, if you're dealing with somebody that is unyielding in their belief, even when it flies in the face of just basically logic.
Okay. So I will say this. I don't see that a ton in business because a lot of times our beliefs, our personal beliefs, don't necessarily get in the way of business, at least in my experience, because I've been lucky with clients I had and people I do business with. You know, we're just doing business. We're not letting our personal beliefs necessarily dictate our decisions. But people, in a negotiation where people are very, hard on a position, my job is to understand why. There's always a why. So I look at everything, any difficult situation I'm in, right? Or someone's causing difficulty. My first action is to understand the reasoning. Why? There's something behind it. Because people just, I don't believe people are difficult to be difficult. There's a reason. So what's the motivation creating this reaction out of them? Like, why are they pissed? Why are they, being, verbally abusive? Why are they so hard and fast on this one position? Understanding the why. Once I understand the why, then I can dissect it.
Okay.
That's what I do. So I try and, I never combat difficulty with difficulty. I tend to take a more stoic approach. Like if someone's really like heated or fired up, it's okay. Just listen, let it come out. And eventually you get behind the curtain. And once
do you personally dismiss the emotion of it and look for
you can't dismiss the emotion
conversation of it?
You can't dismiss the emotion of it because the emotion of it is part of the conversation, right? That is the vessel that the words are coming in. So you have to understand that emotion gives it context. So if someone's upset about something, I could say, I really like this drink. Or I could say, I really love this drink. Two different meanings, same words. The way I said it, the emotion behind it gave it two different meanings.
Okay.
First one was like a little bit sarcastic. Second one was, he may really like it.
Okay.
So you have to take the emotion with the words because that gives the words context. That's data. So I look at any situation when it's difficult, I start collecting data points.
Okay.
What's their tone of voice? What's the reasoning behind it? How are they seated? What's their body language telling me? Like, what are their eyes doing? Mm-hmm. Are they flushed? Like, there's so many things you pick up on. And I can't. It's hard for me to tell you how I did. It's just over time you just start to notice things. Yeah, and that's what I do when I'm dealing with difficult people. I just collect the data points. Then in my brain, I'm kind of placing the data where I know it should go, and then I kind of find the path forward.
Have you had to do that ever in your personal life or in your social life?
I do it in all aspects of life. Yes. Yeah, absolutely. And your personal life probably deals with it more so than in business because you're always going to have difficult people. You're going to have people that tell you you can't do something or that's stupid or people you argue with. From the time you're a kid till now, you're always dealing with people in your personal and social circles that are going to be difficult. Mm-hmm. It's just understanding why they're being difficult. Mm-hmm. And is it something I need to address? Sometimes they're being difficult. Like, I don't really give a shit. I'm not going to engage in it. Other times I'm going to engage in the discussion and try and understand and get a deeper understanding of why they're being this way. But it happens. Yeah, I do it all the time. You look perplexed.
Well, it's Yes, but wouldn't you agree oftentimes that emotion overtakes logic in many instances?
Yeah, yeah.
And how do you deal with that? How do you when you see somebody that's irrationally angry for
Mhm.
some reason, and you've got to deal with them in some capacity?
Yeah.
Do you work to diffuse that? Do you not try to diffuse it? Do you try to cut through it? Do you try to? I mean,
I do.
it's a fascinating question because
Yeah.
everybody's got their own way of
I do
dealing
one of
with
two
it.
things always. Either try and diffuse it or wait it out.
Wait it out.
Yeah, because emotion has a short fuse. If people are getting really emotional, and if I can't find the way to diffuse it, meaning I can't get behind the curtain to figure out what's really bothering them, then I just wait it out. Sometimes you have to let people just run through their own emotion out loud, and then it's just they calm down and come to a reasonable discussion. Sometimes that is the best solution, to say nothing.
Works with kids.
Works with adults too. It
For
works with
sure.
adults as well. I mean, probably more so than kids, because they just I think adults, when they get emotional about something, a lot of times it is irrational, and it can only last so long.
And then they often feel embarrassed or bad about their
Yeah,
behavior.
because if you keep feeding it and engaging in it and trying to debate it, then you're just adding a little bit of fuel onto it. Then they're getting more and more agitated. But if they're agitated and I just let them go, it's almost like they're arguing with themselves.
Mhm.
They get tired, they get worn down, and they come back to, a peaceful reality, is what I would say.
You think there's a part of us that craves the confrontation? I don't mean uniformly with
Yeah.
everybody, but do you think there's a human tendency that because the only reason I bring that up is that we're so, I don't know if we are, but it appears that in this society that we're living in now, this uber connected society, there's lots and lots of consternation and arguing and bickering and so forth. And I don't know if that's any more today than it was 40 years ago. We just weren't seeing it 40 years ago. The methods to do it wasn't there.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I don't think we're confrontational. I don't think we do it because we're confrontational. I think we do it because we want to feel the emotion. Yeah, I think because if you look at it,
Okay.
and this is just my
Okay.
perception, right? People that tend to get emotional or out of shape, like bent out of shape over certain things, don't have a lot of other things in their life that are exciting them. Because I
Agreed.
look at I have a ton of shit to be worried about and excited about. Little things don't really bother me. Because why am I going to waste my emotional energy on that? It's the little things that people waste their emotional energy on. Just shows me they don't have much else to be emotional about. So I just take a step back and say, okay, this is maybe just something they need. They need this emotion. They need this confrontation because it fuels something they're not getting.
Are they
anywhere
desperate
else.
to sometimes just to feel something?
Yeah. I mean, think about the people that that have gotten emotional about the stupidest shit, little things that don't matter in the grand scheme of things. Think about those people, then tell me if you can honestly say those people have big things going on. They're doing big things. They have big things going on in their life.
No.
That's how and again, that's not a shot against anybody. I mean, we all get emotional, but I just think if I look at it and I'm giving a generalization, people I see that get emotional over little, stupid, inconsequential things on a more frequent basis don't really have anything else that's charging their emotions or getting them excited. They're kind of just living in existence. So these are the things, these are the moments that give them that rush that they need, that we all need as human beings. We just get it differently.
So, okay, if that's the case with somebody who is not feeling much and doesn't have a lot of that doesn't have a lot of much in their life, then they're looking to feel something. Is it easier to feel anger than it is joy?
Yeah, I think so.
And why is that?
Because I think joy, and again, I'm talking in generalities. I think joy, people have to have something to be joyous about. People are going to be angry about something they don't have. So there's more. You can be angry about lack. Joy, typically something's in your life that brings you that joy.
Got it.
Anger, most people have anger in this instance for things they lack in life. It's easy to find lack, right? Because you can just look at everything I don't have. Okay. And I can just be angry about that. But to be joyous, something's got to come into my life to bring me that joy. Unless you find happiness within, which is what you're supposed to do, right? But people that are looking for joy externally, something has to come in. Where anger is just, I can be angry about everything that's outside of me.
Yeah, and lack can be inconsequential or consequential.
Correct. Yeah.
Sometimes it's just all created in our head.
Right. Yes,
On
exactly.
the inconsequential side.
And I think people get angry because they compare themselves to other people. I think that's the biggest cause of human anger these days because of social media. It's a constant comparison to people and where we think we should be compared to what we see others are doing. When really we should only be comparing ourselves to who we were yesterday. But too many people look and say, well, I'm not here and this person is. I'm behind. I'm a piece of shit. I'm not doing what I'm supposed to do. And they get angry at the world. It's the world beat them down. They're beating themselves down. There's some sort of reasoning behind it, but it's because we're comparing ourselves to others. We've all done it.
Yeah, and the vehicle of all the connectivity the past decade and a half has certainly enhanced the opportunity to compare oneself.
Oh yeah, absolutely, 100%.
Yeah, it's an odd thing too with social media and the very young, because 8, 9, 10, 12, 15 years old, you haven't really experienced much in life yet that to give any weight to what you see other people doing or possessing.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. I mean, you're right. I think as you get older, you start doing more comparisons. I feel like there's a time in your life, like 20s to like mid 30s, we compare ourselves. Then like late 30s and into my 40s, like you stop really doing that. I feel like you hit a point in time where you realize it doesn't matter. Like I am me, and no one's like me, no one's like you. We're unique. So how could I compare myself to someone?
Why does that happen? Like what like is it? I agree with you 100%. I think it happens in the early 40s, average.
Yeah, probably.
But why? What about that particular area of time, that 5-year span, let's say, in one's life, where what's the magic of those years where it just turns the opinion?
So I think, at least for myself, right, when you turn 40, it was a milestone. Because I remember being a young kid thinking 40 was like, that's the end. Like that's the end. Like they're
have this conversation before we turn the button on.
I mean, they're almost dead. Like you're 40, like need a wheelchair. Like you thought. Then when you get there, and you realize, okay, like I'm just getting started in life, and all these things I cared about prior to this moment didn't really matter. I mean, you just wake up and start looking at the world differently. I think in your 40s, you really start to see what matters and what doesn't matter, and who matters and who doesn't matter. That's how I look at it. I think there's just that turning point, because it's that age, like the halfway point. Most people think.
Okay.
It's like, when you're younger, like there's the ADEA, the Age Discrimination Employment Act. 40 is the threshold. If you're over 40, you're protected under age discrimination laws, which I'm like, what? Like, how is that even possible? But that's the bar. So think about that. 40 probably was the bar back in the day of like young versus old. There's a law that says if you're over 40, you're protected under an age discrimination law.
Yeah.
So it's like, holy shit, like I'm old now. Like 30s, you're just like, if you have a 3 in your age, whether you're 39 or 31, you're like, we're in our 30s. Like we're young, we're fun. 40, you're like, I'm supposed to be mature and wise and have some wisdom.
Okay.
But then you're like, I don't really give a shit about much of the stuff I gave a shit about 5 years ago. And now I'm just going to do exactly what I want to do. And no one's going to tell me otherwise. It's a huge shift you go through.
Yeah. Yeah. Like for me, when I hit 40, the idea of possessing anything was already not real strong in me. But when I hit 40, I can distinctly remember being surrounded by a lot of product I was selling, product for sale. And it just reemphasized that I just want to go home to cleanliness, uncluttered. I don't need things to make me happy. It was really apparent to me that I did not want to be weighed down by personal possessions. It was a big one for me. Right around when I was 40 years old, like I just don't want to be weighed down by that. And I felt I'd spent a lot of my time in my 20s and 30s brand name things, and I had to have a certain this and that and this and that. And sometimes it wasn't just one. I had to have multiples.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, to me, 40 was a turning point where it wasn't, because I've always liked nice things. I'm always a nice thing.
Well, we all do.
40 was the age where I said, what am I doing? What's going to be my legacy? Because that's literally when I left.
It's a bigger picture thinking.
It was like, I remember I turned 40 in August of 2017. My grandmother passed away in December.
Okay.
And I left my job in February of 18. It was just like, I was okay. Like that was like this significant date. I turned this age, and my grandmother was a significant influence in my life, passed away.
Okay.
And I was just like, that was the epiphany I needed. It's like, what am I doing with myself? Like, I'm not a corporate person. I'm meant to build something bigger. I'm meant to leave a legacy. I'm meant to do something. And I wasn't doing shit. Like I was doing things, but I really wasn't doing it. I wasn't putting my balls out there and taking the risk. That's when I just said, fuck it. I quit and just figured it out.
Did you feel, I know we're taking a slight right turn, but did you talked about when your grandmother passed, you had a moment there. Did you feel that you were not doing what you were, for lack of a better phrase, you were called to do?
Yeah, that's exactly what it was. I felt like, because my grandmother was a very big influence on my life. And she always told me, like, you're meant to do something great. She's like, you're just meant. She's like, you're different. You're meant to do something special. Mm-hmm. Never knew what that meant, but it's like, then when she was gone, it was kind of like, I have to do something special. Mm-hmm. Like that's honoring what she used to say to me. And she would say to me, anytime I was around her, like, you're meant to do something special. You're different. Like, she always told me I was different. I never knew what that meant, because it's my grandmother. It's like, oh, every kid's different to their grandparents. But I felt like when she would say it, there was something more behind it. It's like almost like she saw what was coming for me.
There was like a gravity to her words.
There was a very big gravity to her words. Then when she passed, it's like I had this moment. I'm like, no, this is not. I don't want to wake up 10 years from now and still be working for someone. Like I want to take the chance. And if I fell, I fell. Mm-hmm. But I couldn't look back. I said, I have to do this. Mm-hmm. And then I just took the leap and just said, fuck it. But I felt like there was, because again, this is going to sound so stupid. And so like, I don't know, esoteric, but like ever since I was a kid, like I felt like there was something I was supposed to do. And I never knew what it was. Like I just felt like I was here for a reason. And that sounds so cheesy.
Is it because of the aptitude?
I don't know.
And all that early on?
Yeah. I mean, I was in the gifted program. I was very smart and like was always, doing well in school. But there was something inside that like I couldn't figure it out. But I felt like there was just something pulling me to do something, but I had no idea what it was. Truly, even in my 20s, I'm like, I'll just go to law school. Like, that's what I wanted to do. I went to law school, started working. Okay, like, what am I supposed to do?
Okay, so let's stop for a second. So when you were younger, did you like to create things?
I used to play with Legos all the time. I used to build things. I used my imagination all the time. Like my friends and I we'd create like. We would do that. We would create fake businesses. Mm-hmm. We would sell baseball cards when I was a kid. Like we were always using our imagination. Like there was never a time we would just played with the thing.
Get that.
It was like, let's make the thing something else. You know what I mean? Like we just say like, hey, let's, here's a baseball and a bat. Let's play baseball. It's like, no, let's make up a new game. We're gonna make it super hard. We're gonna stand between a fence and a garage. And we used to play PG ball, which was like a game you had like a little wiffle ball you built with rocks, put duct tape on it, throw it as hard as you could against the garage and hopefully not hit each other. It was like stuff like that, but we were always constantly using our imagination. I just always felt like I had some intuition to me, like I'm supposed to do something. Mm-hmm. I never knew what it was. I just kept moving forward.
Okay, that creativity, there's no way that could have possibly been satisfied in a corporate environment.
No, but I'm a business lawyer, so but I'm creating something. Like that's the thing. Like I couldn't. That's what I think stifled me, because I do have a creative brain. I am more of a visionary, and I like to visualize things. But it was true. Like I just, like you said, when there's a call, like I felt called to do something, but I had no idea what it was.
Yeah, which that's an odd feeling.
It was. It fucks with you. I'm not even gonna lie,
because there's no direction at the time.
No, because I was like, I told the story before. Like when I met that woman that like came in and read my tarot cards in a fucking Panera, like blew my mind. Like holy shit, like what? And she was the one. It was like all these weird things kept happening. They were like signs, like keep going forward. Like there were many times I'm like, I'm done. I got to find a job. Like, I can't make this work. I don't know what I'm going to do. Like, why did I do this? Why did I give up this job? Why did I, stress all the time? But I just, for some reason, something kept compelling me to take the next step. Anytime it got really hard, like something would happen, like a little thing would happen. Okay, maybe I take the next step. Maybe I don't give up yet. I just kept doing that. And then now I'm here and I'm like, I don't know what the hell I'm doing most days.
Well, I love that mantra that you have, that you don't have to see a week, a month, 5 years. You can dream, but you don't have to see it clearly. But you got to be able to see you taking the next step.
Yep, that's it.
Because that's so true.
Yeah, it's from that book, the boy, the fox, the horse, and the mole. I think it is. But it's just, if you can't see the path, take the next step. That's all you got to do. Yeah. And that's all I did. Because when I started, I'm like, how did I know I was going to have I was in a office where I shared it with an attorney, paid $200 a month, hole in the wall, inside of a doctor's office. Was my first office. I'm like, this would just be me, sole practitioner. Cool, let's figure this out. Like, now I'm in an office where it's like 4,500 square feet. With like, I'm like, holy shit! Like, how did this happen? I had if you would have told me when I left that that's where I'm going, I would have said, cool. No idea how I'm going to get there. Right. I would have believed that's where I'm going, but I did not have the path. Yeah, I mean, I don't know who else is going to work for me. Like, I don't know how to employ people.
But you have to, you really have to cultivate a belief that that the path will reveal itself through the work. The path will reveal itself,
or you make the path.
And that's for sure, for sure. Yeah, but that's a leap for a lot of people. It was a leap for me. I mean, I figured it out. Yeah, that was the path. But initially, it was a leap.
Yeah, it takes faith. Like, you got to have faith in God, faith in whatever you believe in. To me, it's like I always had faith in God. I said, God has me on this path. Yeah. And, I figure if I'm not supposed to be on this path, something will take me off the path. So I'm just going to keep moving forward. Like, I didn't need to have all the answers. Like people always, some people think they need to have a sign, or, it needs to be clear to them. To me, it's like, I didn't need clarity. I just needed a little bit of the fog to clear, so I could just see where I'm going next. And then it just kind of just kept clearing, and the clearing got bigger and bigger. And then my vision got wider. Now it's like, I can see where we're going. Now it's just figuring out the steps to get there.
The exciting thing about entrepreneurship, though, that I've always had was that it was incredible from year to year what happened. And I would look back on that going, I could not have planned this under any circumstances. I could never have foreseen the nuts and bolts of what ultimately happened.
No.
I knew something, we were going to do something cool, but
dude,
what happened,
when I'm looking at it, I'm just like, I come into the office and I'm like, I have no idea how all these people got here. And God walks through the office and just see people in their offices and their cubes, and I'm just walk back to my office. I'm like, I work here.
Imposter syndrome, right?
It is. It's weird. I'm like, wait a minute, like, I have to pay all you people. I have to pay for the rent. I have to do all this stuff. But it's
then it's real. It's real.
It's real. It's real. But it's funny because you're right. Nothing prepares you, man. It just keeps shit just keeps happening.
No.
More shit pops up, and you're just like, what? Like, last year was a shit show of a year. But I look back and I'm like, thank God it happened, because I needed a year like that. Our firm needed a year like that to sharpen the axe.
Right.
And that's really what it did. It's like, now we can cut down bigger trees.
But you were able to 2/3 through that year, just from our conversations.
Yeah.
You recognized that.
Yeah. 100%.
Maybe not the beginning of the year, but you knew by the 2/3 way through.
I recognize things a lot sooner than people thought. It's just, I had to take action the way I take action. I recognize things probably months before people thought I did. It's just, I have to collect, me, I collect data. Like, I'm not going to make a rash decision or a quick decision. Once I had enough data, I'm like, okay, then the decisions were easy to make. But I had to get enough data. So that's what I did. I spent months collecting data.
Okay, back to the emotional side for a second.
Yeah, we got way off track.
No, it's not off track at all. It's all tied together. The emotional intelligence, that book, it was a seismic book in terms of business works, written works. I would say it's up there with Canfield stuff, and it's up there with Drexler stuff, and all of there's a big chasm between those two. But ultimately, Emotional Intelligence 1 and then 2, and then all the subsequent books. Why do you think that was so damn impactful? And number 2, why do you think we don't adopt a curriculum for the young in school to teach a form of emotional intelligence?
Well, I'll answer the second part first. I mean, the school system was created by the Rockefellers to create factory workers. It's until someone fundamentally changes the system, it's built to create workers.
Okay.
And if workers have emotional intelligence, they're not going to work like we need them to.
So that's one of the reasons why we really don't teach the skill set for entrepreneurship.
Correct. Yes, we need workers. Like when you think about it, I just had this conversation in the office before with a client that came in. Love the guy. We were just talking about like just the world, and he was saying like, yeah, he's like people. He was talking about entrepreneurship. He's built a very successful business. He's like, yeah, we're the ones that put our balls out and just do it. He's like, the school system. He's right. The school system. There's a bell. Tell us when we can and can't do things. We can't talk unless you raise our hand or spoken to. He's like, I'm like, I knew that's why the system was created. But as he was articulating, he's older than me. And I'm like, yeah, like that's exactly when I think about it. I'm like, yeah, like there's a bell that says when we start things, when we stop things. Like we have to raise our hands to do things. We have to ask for permission. Like they're creating workers.
Order.
Yeah, creating order. And it's like they don't teach. And then I think like, okay, well, how? Because he was talking about how he didn't listen for shit, and he had started his first business at 19. I'm thinking like, well, I'm an entrepreneur. I actually listened. I paid attention in school. Like I did well in school. So I'm like, I was trying to figure out like how I differed. I just think I just had this. I had this. Somebody was calling me to do something different. But it's the school system. I don't think they teach emotional intelligence because
they don't want free thinkers.
They don't want free thinkers. I think a lot of that is, and I think it's a hard thing to teach. Like
really,
I think because think about teaching is such a hard profession. Like I couldn't imagine being a teacher.
I agree.
Understanding all that stuff, then saying, "Oh, you also got to teach them emotional intelligence." I think, and how do you teach it at different levels?
Yeah, I almost think that it should be a curriculum for like 4th, 5th grade, 6th grade, maybe. They have it for 2 years, and then hopefully you take that skill set and take it in everything else.
But again, what do you teach them at that age, though? Like, I believe the environment and the family and the parents should teach them emotional intelligence, just being and embracing an environment. Yeah. They don't even know how you would teach a kid emotional intelligence. Teach them how to feel, how to have empathy. How do you teach that? I would example it.
Yeah, I think you could do it in terms of how appropriate reaction to emotions affects decision making in certain circumstances, affects relationships. I think there's probably some tangible ways.
But think about look at Gabe. Like I think Gabe has more emotional intelligence than I do. Like he's my son. He's 23 years old. Like he handles people way differently than I do, and he has such intuition. We didn't tell him like, hey, this is what you do. I think he modeled people around him and saw that he developed his own skills because he looks at things differently than I do. Like we can always see the same result we want to get. He frames it differently than I do. And he frames it with more emotion and more emotional intelligence than I do. I put more logic to it. So I think it wasn't taught to him. I think he just developed it by being with the right people.
It's such a rare skill set that people really achieve on their own. Would you not agree?
It is. Yeah, I agree. But if everybody had emotional intelligence and everybody had all these skills, we'd have no one to do the work.
Yeah, no, 100%. I just think that I don't know if children leave school prepared in many ways, of course, but in terms of understanding the consequences of emotionally based decisions as they enter at 18, 19 years old, entering the workforce. We run high on emotions in this society, and I don't think it serves us well as a whole.
See, here's what I would say. So,
okay,
I believe teachers have an incredibly difficult job. I think part of it has to be on the parents. That's something the parents should be teaching their kids about emotion and how to handle it. It shouldn't be because, again, think about if you're a teacher, right? Every year I'm getting 30 new kids. 30 new kids that have 30 different backgrounds, have 30 different emotional makeups. How do I create a curriculum to attack all 30 of these people that all have different backgrounds, different upbringings, different ways that, they may have parents that aren't emotional at all. So they think that's normal. I'm not emotional. They may have parents that are very emotional. That's normal. So how do you teaching objective subjects for the masses, that's hard enough. Now, a subjective topic to a class of kids that have 30 different makeups.
So is high
That's
school too young to
impossible.
teach that? Should that be a first or second year college course?
Again, I don't even know that it's because how do you teach something so subjective? Because
they teach a class called logic.
Yeah, but logic is taking problems and saying this, add this to it equals this. Emotional intelligence. How do you explain to me how you would, if you had to sum up emotional intelligence, how you would teach it? And what are you teaching me in 2 sentences?
I am teaching that the quality of your decisions oftentimes in life is directly related to the way you manage your emotions while making that decision.
Okay, but what quality of my decision? What's the quality we're talking about?
Well, good thing. The quality of your decisions.
Like if you say
the
quality,
the right outcome, the right.
But that's according to you or according to the curriculum, right? Everybody's gonna have a different perspective. Like that's how I see it different than logic. Logic is I'm gonna teach you to take 2 facts, 2 data sets, and look at them to come up with the most probable outcome. That's logic. Taking 2 facts or sets of facts and saying putting these together, what's the most probable outcome? It's deducing things from facts.
True.
Emotional, what you say is like the quality of decisions. Well, your quality of decision making and my quality of decision making may be completely different. Both of them could be right, but they're different perspectives.
Yeah,
so it's hard to teach.
Yeah, I understand that too, but I think that there's situations where you could give, like, I hate to say word problems, but you give a case study, a couple paragraphs. Johnny encounters this person asking him to do this, and there's 3 or 4 ways to get to the answer or how you handle that person. That we used to teach. There used to be there were sales 1 and 2 back when I went to college, and there were situations there. You had sales situations. You wanted to have effective communication with someone, and you wanted an outcome. You wanted your outcome to happen. What's the best way to reach that?
But see the difference in that class. Everyone wants the same outcome. Selling the product. Emotional intelligence. We may all want different outcomes.
Yeah, I get that.
And that's what I'm saying. So you're giving me a word problem and saying these are these outcomes. We all come with preconceived biases.
I get that.
And there's no real, I may say that's the best outcome to me. You may say this is the best outcome to you, and because we're not going for the same
it's real
outcome,
gray. It's gray.
Yeah,
it's gray. Yeah.
Sales is very simple because we all want the same outcomes. For you to give me money for the thing I'm selling you, that's the outcome we all want.
No, I get that.
It's hard. Look, I think that's why I think parents have to take responsibility to teach their kids certain things.
Oh, for sure.
Teach your kids what emotions are, how to deal with emotions, how to be empathetic to people. And by teaching that, I'm saying exhibit that. Let them see what it is. Let them hear what it sounds like. Let them develop their own style of
just listen. Basic listening skills. Starting there.
Yes, just listen to
that's
people.
something that could be taught.
100%. Just listening to understand.
And that's a component of emotional intelligence. It's almost a starting point.
It's a very big starting point. Because again, to embrace any relationship or to engage, it starts with listening, right? If I meet you for the first time and I don't listen to a word you say, how can I form a relationship with you,
right?
Or how can I get you to do what I want if I don't listen to you?
Right.
I have to be able to listen to a person and understand them, not listen to respond. Listen to understand and actually take the time to understand. Let the information sit there for a minute. Don't respond immediately. That's the thing that people don't understand.
Let it marinate.
Yeah, you have to. People. I know I move fast. I talk fast. My brain's constantly going. I have to tell myself to slow down, to listen, to just listen. Let the person talk, and then that's where you get all the information. That's how you deal with emotional people. If you just listen and let them talk, they'll eventually give you the clues you need if you're looking for them.
Yes, I would agree. I just think there's something missing in high school in regards to.
Well, why do you think that?
Because maybe I assume or I observe and come to the conclusion that we're just so overly emotional and charged up about everything in society. We're letting
You think the majority of people are?
media
Really?
factors, like, I hate to use the word trigger because it's so overused, but we're being constantly baited for a reaction. It appears maybe it's life has always been this way, but it appears now we're constantly being baited to express a reaction. Often that reaction is negative.
Mm-hmm. I mean, that's news. That's sensationalism.
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying, like, take the news aside, like, just in everyday life. Do you see that as just as much in everyday life? Because I don't. Like, I see it
No, I don't think
differently.
I do either. And I think that's a good point. I think probably not.
Like, if you get people watching a news station that either agrees or disagrees with them, then
That's
yeah,
the
everybody's
thing.
gonna fucking. I get emotional when I'm stoic as shit. There's still stuff I'm like I get pissed about.
So the marketing, the sales and the marketing to the public,
Yeah,
to entice them to absorb themselves in the news is good. No, it's effective.
it's effective.
It's
Yes,
effective, yeah.
yes,
It's not
very
good, but it's
effective.
effective.
It's very effective.
And we've kind of succumbed to that.
Yeah, I mean, I find myself watching Greg Gutfeld most nights because it's funny.
Well, that's comedy for me.
But there's also news involved, and it's kind of funny. There's stuff like, oh, that's bullshit. Why they do that? I'm like, why am I getting upset about this?
Yeah. It's sneaky, isn't it?
It is.
It gets that news and helps form an opinion with you.
Yeah.
Because you're agreeing with most of the stuff and you find it funny. And it's a backhanded way to get you a particular perspective.
Yeah. I think if people just took a step back and, like, not saying become stoic or study stoicism, but just understand. I mean, it's because it takes a lot of work to do, like, truly to understand stoicism at a deep level and really practice. I mean, I've been studying it for years.
But the public could benefit for a very, very marginal understanding of it. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, I mean, 100%. I mean, I practice it 75 to 80% of the time. There are still times where I lose control of my emotions, but it truly does help you when sometimes you sit back and say, what am I pissed about? I can't control anything here. There's nothing I do that can impact what's going on. So why am I letting it take my energy?
Right.
And I think people get so emotional about stuff and so charged up about things.
Is that a more fata?
Amor fati?
Amor fati. I can't think that right.
I was trying to think of, like,
it sounds like a terrorist name.
That's the love. I mean, that's the one tattoo I have on my shoulder. That's the love of fate.
Yeah.
It means you just love the hand you're dealt.
Yeah.
And you just play it because, again, you can't change it.
Right.
Right. Like, I can't make myself 6 foot tall. I'm 5'9". So why bitch about
it? 5'9".
I'm 5'9". No, I'm 5'9". I am. I just walk around on my tiptoes.
You must.
Everybody says I seem like I'm tall. I don't know if it's just wider, so it makes you look taller. But every time I tell somebody I'm 5, they're like, "No, you're not. You're like 5'10", 5'11". I'm like, I fucking wish. There's no way.
Okay.
But I feel like there's things like that. Like, people get pissed about stupid things. Like, if someone cuts me off in traffic, like, what am I going to get pissed about? I can't go back in time, make it not happen. The person did it. So if I catch myself react like F you, I'm just like, well, what's the point?
It's funny. Like, so I was raised by Catholics, very much
likewise.
like yourself too. So when I was a very curious teenager, big surprise, Ayn Rand and all the stuff that I tried to ingest as a young kid.
Yeah.
And I stumbled on Stoicism, and my family wasn't too great with that because Stoicism is threatening to the Catholic faith. I honestly believe it in certain ways.
They could coexist, in my opinion.
There's no question, 100%. But that takes an acceptance on the one side, and that doesn't seem to be there. So my grandmother, who was very educated and very stoic in nature, she said to me, very similar to what you mentioned about the traffic, she said, your whole day, look at it as a puzzle, because she used to do this like 1,000-word puzzles. Think of your day as a puzzle, and there's all these puzzle pieces out there. And when things happen during the day, it's just a puzzle piece.
Yeah.
It doesn't have value.
Right.
It's just a puzzle piece.
Yes. Yeah.
And understand it for that.
Yeah.
And temper yourself.
Yeah.
And she would say this over and over. And to me, that was pure stoicism.
Yeah.
But that was her mantra. And I really think she lived that way. It was admirable. It really was admirable.
The one I hear that I tend to live by, and I've even said this to my daughters, I said, if seconds were of value, you have $86,000 in your bank account. And if someone takes $100, are you going to give them the rest? It's like, no, so then why give them your day?
Right.
If someone pisses you off for a minute, you're like, why give them your day?
Right.
And like, for some reason,
great analogy.
It like really clicked in my head. So I'm like, yeah, like, why the F would I give somebody? Like, time is valuable. Like, time is more valuable than money. We have a finite, I can go out and make as much money as I want. I can't buy more time. Right? Time is, I have an expiration date.
You and I both have the same calendar.
Yeah. The one where you check it off. Yeah.
It's Gary.
It is. It's when you look at it, you're like, oh, wow. Like, oh, wow.
It's a visual.
Yeah, it really
reminder.
It puts, yeah. I mean, that's why I have that picture in my office. It says 3 words of inspiration: "You will die," because it puts a reminder. Like,
is that memento mori?
That's the memento mori is remember you will die. Yeah. Remember you will die. We are mortal, because it's true. Like, when you think about it, sometimes we think we're going to live forever. But then it's like when you take a step back and say, wait a minute. Like,
we are some arrogant fucks, aren't we?
Well, yeah. But we all get that way. But when you think about it, you have limited time. Like, we don't know. We both have an expiration date sitting here. Only God knows when we're going to expire.
Yeah.
And it's like, so I got to live every day to the fullest. And I want every day to be joyous. And I want to make the best of it, help as many people as possible,
right,
and do the right thing. So it's like, that's a constant reminder. And when you get up in age, like, you're going to be old tomorrow.
I'm
happy early birthday.
59 tomorrow.
Yeah, I don't want to say the age, but yes.
I feel like 37.
I mean, I'm gonna be 48 this year, which is old as shit too.
And you always be younger than me.
Always. But you look at life, you're like, okay, like, I don't know when it's gonna end, so I want to make the most of it. Like I want to feel the best.
If one is smart.
Yeah, but I mean, how could you not want to like I think about just health now. Like, at a deeper level. Like, not to look a certain way or to do a certain thing, but just to feel and be able to have the energy and to,
survival.
Yeah, to be able to live, to see my grandkids and great grandkids, and to make sure, like, I don't become a burden to my kids someday. So it's like, I take that so seriously now, like, truly, because as I get older, I'm realizing how important it is. And you start realizing your own mortality. And it'll fuck with you.
Yes.
It really will. When you start thinking about, like, it comes to an end at some point. The curtain's pulled. And it's just like, wow, like, have I done enough? Am I doing enough?
Yeah, that heavy weight of regret, that story of regret while on your deathbed is like a very if you really ingest it, it's a powerful example.
It's I sometimes put heavy weight on myself, because there are days where I'm sitting there and, like, at the end of the day, and if I felt like I didn't do anything that day, I'm like, if I died right now, would I be happy with what I did today? I'm like, fuck no. And but that's what I do to myself, because I need to feel that heaviness.
Wait till you get to be 50. That'll start to ebb a little bit.
But I like putting that pressure on myself.
I know you do,
because I want to feel that pressure, because I want to leave a mark. So it's like, I'm not going to wait till tomorrow. Like, I'm not going to wait till Monday to start. Like, why not start now? So that's how I always. And I used to be the guy, like, I'll start Monday. I got plenty of time. I was like, I don't have plenty of time. I'm going to be 50 in 2 years. Like, holy shit! Like, I'm going to start getting the senior discount at Eaton Park.
Yeah, you're gonna be getting your AARP card in the mail.
Don't say.
I've never signed mine. I've never engaged.
I've never
come for 9 years. It keeps coming. My wife takes all the benefits of it. She loves it. I don't want any parts of that. It's a reminder that, oh my God.
No, age is a funny thing, man. Mortality. No one likes to talk about it.
You think about it a lot?
A lot? No. Do I think about it? Absolutely. Like, I think about time, because, like, I look at Gabe. I still see him as a 2-year-old.
Yeah, I do that myself.
And my girls, like, I still see them as these little, and they're like coming into their own. It's like, holy shit, where did the years go? Like, my 40s are a blur. Like, I remember turning 40, and now I'm gonna be 48. I'm like, what the fuck happened in these past 8 years? So I do think about it more, because now it's like, I want to live a life of significance. And
that's a good phrase.
And to me, and that's why time matters to me.
And see, I think that's a phrase that is so well worded. That should be a phrase that everybody should say.
Yeah. And significance is different to everybody.
1,000,000%.
To me, it could be if I could impact one person that helps them change their life for the better, that's significant.
Certainly.
But if I could do more, I'm going to do more.
Certainly.
And that's what I want. I want to be able to leave this place better than I found it and better for my kids. And whatever that legacy is, if it's, leaving the firm to live on past me or creating something else or getting into politics or doing something for the good of humanity, like that's significance to me. And so that's why I do think like my time is limited. Like I've got to do things. I can't wait around anymore.
Yeah. You have to create a sense of urgency, and it has to come from within. It has to come from within. It's imperative that it comes from within.
That's the only place it can come from. It's because look, I can have employees that work for me. I can create a sense of urgency in them to get shit done. But if they don't feel that urgency in themselves, they're never going to do it to the standard I have. So everybody has to find that sense of urgency within. And that means, and when you find it, that means you actually care.
Right.
And you're actually pushing yourself because you're trying to get outside your limits. That's what I think people in this world are lacking right now.
Yes. Agreed.
Yeah, it's a different place we're in.
You and I've always had this little bit of a difference of opinion. Like I believe that most people given a choice will take the lazy route, and you kind of don't believe that. You kind of give mankind a little more credit than I do. And I don't say that to be mean. I just say that I think that we will take the path of least resistance if given the opportunity. And you don't think that's the case. You think that man will rise up and take the challenge.
I think
or we'll find meaning in the challenge.
So I think yes, but I also think it comes with the history. The history sometimes dictates the decision. If someone has been used to the easy path and used to comfort, they're going to choose that because that's natural. Someone that is used to struggle, they're not going to choose the easy path. Like that's kind of how I look at it, right? I believe that human beings, if you've had things given to you, and it's been an easy life, and it's, you've always taken the easy path. If you're given a choice like this way, you're going to get results. It's going to be easy. This way, you're going to get way more results. It's going to be way more difficult. Most people that had an easy path to there will continue the easy path.
You see it in business a lot?
I see it in business all the time. The people that have the hard path coming up, give them the chance to take a break and, have good results, but it's a lot less stress, or have really great results, but it's going to be hard as shit. 99.9% of those people are going to pick that path, the hard path. I could have stopped at 2 people and said, okay, make decent money, have a life, not have to deal with all the stress. It's like, no, I want to build a 100-person law firm.
Right.
That's the hard path.
Right.
I could have said, I'm good where we are. Just keep where we are. Just, not try to grow. Just keep, treading water. No, that would be easy to do. I want to say, okay, we're here. How do we get to 100 people? That's hard as shit. But that's the path I'm choosing. I wouldn't have it any other way.
Yeah, it's good. That's good stuff. I think the longer I'm around you, the more optimistic I might be headed.
Yeah, I don't think the world's as bad as you think it is. I think we see what we want to see. Like that's what I've come to realize over the past couple of years.
Certainly.
Truly, I think if we are seeing more negative, and this is not a shot at you at all.
No, I get it.
It's a reflection.
Yeah. I think it's funny. I don't think I had that same feeling before starting the podcast. And I don't mean that in a bad way. I don't think my optics, and we went through the pandemic as well too. And I listened to a lot of people's strife during the pandemic.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So my attitude might be a product of what I ingested as well too.
Yeah, I mean, it could definitely make you a little bit jaded, or at least more of a realist in the world, as opposed, like I'm a realistic optimist. Yeah, or an optimistic realist, whatever you want to call it.
I would agree.
So I think there are shit's going to happen, but I believe that truly people are good by nature, where the world corrupts us.
Yes, and I think there's plenty of opportunities to find the good, and we just have to make a concerted effort to do that. And just that, it's we also, for the simple reason, selfishly, that it has to be better for you. Like physically, it's got to be better for you. Emotionally, mental.
Yeah.
It's got to be part of your health, right? I mean, if
Mhm.
we're constantly ingesting negative things, you could be the most fit person in the world, but something's missing.
Yeah, and I always look at, like, there's the days I have where I'm, like, a little bit stressed about shit, and I feel like that negative energy, it affects me physically. I feel the physical effects of
Drained,
it.
right?
I'm mentally and physically drained. Like, I just feel like a piece of shit. I'm like, I didn't even do anything. Like, why
Yeah.
am I so, like, I feel just sloppy
Yeah.
because of that negative. Because I'm so used to trying to. I've made a cleanse the past year of just blocking out negative energy, trying my heart. Now it still comes in every once in a while, but trying so hard to block it out, right? So now, if a piece of it gets in, it'll knock me off course so fast, and I'm like, what the,
It's almost like poison.
it is, and you feel it, like it'll affect my whole day. Like my whole day will be shot if I have like negativity and like just complaints. Like if someone's complaining about something and it's like in the middle of a work day,
Yeah.
my day can be shot. I'm just like, if I let that's why I try and practice stoicism, not let it affect me. There's still days where it does, and those days are rough.
I can tell you one simple thing that I did, just very specific to me, but there was a website that I had on my phone for years, and it was a website I was going to for a long time for news. And I realized that every single, and it wasn't a news site, it was just a link site of all other articles all across the globe from different political writers, and nothing that was published there, all those links, none of them were feel-good stories. And it took me a while to sit and figure that every time I go to see this site a couple times a day, I'll surf right in there and see, because it's up to date. It's constant, it's very live. It just brought too much negativity into my life. And I eliminated that 6-8 months ago. And I don't miss it.
That's why the only news I
don't
watch
miss
is
it at
Gut
all.
Feel, because it's at least funny.
There's a comedic element.
So I could, I won't watch Hannity or something, because it's just like, it's always like, it's like,
you can tell it's predictable almost.
So with Gut Feel, at least he's funny. The people on there are funny. Like, it's more of the comedy of it to me. It's how I just wind down the end of the night.
Tyrus.
He's Cat, she's hilarious too.
Cat, Tyrus.
Yeah, I mean, did you hear her on the Joe Rogan podcast? She was good on there.
I thought she was really good. She's very real.
Yeah, she's hilarious. She just her wit. Like, she's very witty and quick. That's what I like. And she's super pregnant now, which is hilarious.
She's
like, she just sits there. She just sits there, just has her hands on her belly. And she's very pretty and like looks, gorgeous as a pregnant, but she's like so big. Every show I watch, she just keeps getting bigger and bigger. It's hilarious.
All belly.
She is all belly, definitely.
Yeah, I mean, to wrap this up though, that reminds me, it's like, do you feel that you intentionally get enough laughter in your life?
I think so. Yeah. I mean, I make an effort to do that, and I think.
I mean, you work with Bullwitz. I mean,
yeah. I mean, we have. That's the thing. Like, we do have fun in the office. Like, where there is, we work hard, and it can be intense some days. Like, today was an intense day for me. Like, it was just, I didn't laugh much today. It was just very intense all day. But there are other days where it's just like, it's fun. Like, I mean, my son works there. Like, one of my best friends from law school works there.
Right.
We have a good group of people, and we do have fun. So. And I try not to take myself too seriously. Like, truly, I just, we all put our pants on the same way. We all wipe our ass the same way. It's, no one's better than anybody else. It's just, so I don't take myself too seriously. And I just feel, I try and bring it back. I feel very blessed where I am, and feel very fortunate with the people I have around me. And I don't take that for granted. So it allows me to, at the end of the day, if something bothers me, it's like, would I trade places with anybody? No.
Do you recognize that you are extremely even keeled, or do you not feel that?
I mean, I can recognize it some days. I think other days, no. I think I am. I think I can control my emotions pretty well. People close to me know when I'm off. Like, people close to me, even if I'm like raging inside, I may not look it, but those close to me know. Just the words I choose and the way I say certain things. People can tell. But I try and be, because again, there's not much that bothers me,
right,
until it bothers me. The problem with me is, like, and I say this in the office, and Matt and I tell us all the time. I said, once I see one thing, I see everything. Like, once I put my attention on one thing, then it's like my brain goes. I just start picking everything apart. That's what I have to do. So it's, it's my job to temper that a little bit, because sometimes I overcorrect. And like I see one thing, I'm like, well, there's 20 other things that are wrong. We have to fix all this shit, but those things may not matter that much. But it's just me. That's how my brain works. That's when I get out of kilter. But most of the time I am pretty even keeled.
That sounds like a little bit of OCD there.
It's not even OCD. No, because if you look at my office, people are like, how do you even?
I've seen your desk.
I mean, I think everyone in my office, I think they have such a hard time walking in my office. The people that are very organized, because I just see their face. It's just like, I'm like, this is comfort for me. I love chaos. I thrive in chaos.
Yeah. Oh, yes, you do.
That's why I can handle things the way I do. So, but yeah, like I'm not OCD. It's just I trust things and I trust people, and I'm very trusting. It's like, but when I see one thing off, then I examine it and I say, why is it off? Then I start uncovering other things. I'm like, this happened for a reason. There's probably 6 things that happened before it was why it got here. That's what I do. It probably drives people crazy.
That sounds like a nightmare.
Well, it's called running a business, man. It's called running a business. That's what we do. Yes.
All right, partner. Excellent conversation.
Yeah, definitely.
We're going to continue the difficult people stuff soon too. All right. Until next week, be good to each other.
Yes.
Don't take any wood, Nick. X.